We have the possibility to be not only holding this amazing forest, but we are also a food basket to the Brazilians, but also to the world. We can do that better. The main lesson is that when you want to be a nature superpower, you don't need to give up development. So nature markets are about developing the right way, shifting paradigms, making sure people and forest, people and nature are in the picture. So better regulation, incentivizing the right sectors, could be bioeconomy, could be restoration, and building the financial infrastructure that brings both the public component, but entry points for the private finance to be able to scale these markets in the right way. And this is the Tropical Forest Finance Facility that Brazil will launch at COP30 in Belém. And this is a fund that actually pays for conservation, that has 20% of its yields going to indigenous and local populations, and that pays for the hectares of forest conserved or restored. So any tropical forest country in the world will be able to be part of this fund and just use the proceeds that will come if you do the right job to improve the nature services, but also the nature markets that we are learning that are compatible with conservation today. And of course, with the inclusion of the people that preserve these ecosystems at first hand.
I'm a great believer that travel and tourism are a right, but should be treated as a privilege. The global majority in this world don't travel, not because they don't want to travel, but because they cannot travel. So the bottom line is, how do we face a global socioeconomic environment where, when we talk about travel and tourism, we take into consideration the global inequalities that we do have. And at the same time, we actually create more accessibility so that tourism and travel can become a right. Overcrowding and over-tourism are obviously complex problems that we need to look at from different perspectives. If you look at it from a management problem, you're actually only trying to find the cure for the disease, so to speak, but you don't actually address the root cause of the problem. In the post-COVID era, what we have seen is obviously the surge of certain travel and tourism practice, one of which has been what we have sometimes referred to as revenge travel. People who had been locked in their houses for a long time, they wanted to actually just go through their bucket list. Very often, when it comes to sustainability in tourism, we need to understand what are the optimal conditions for that destination. So for instance, if we look at the issues of crowd management, we need to understand, first of all, what is the limit of acceptable change that that place could actually undergo. So for instance, when it comes to consumption of wildlife or management of wildlife, we need to actually start questioning those knowledge systems that we've been using to actually preserve wildlife and understand which alternative ways could we use to actually make sure that those products, if you like, are more accessible. The sector has unfortunately got a reputation of being characterized by low-skilled, low-paid jobs. And therefore, sometimes people entering the tourism space for employment, they use it as a stepping stone to then get a better job somewhere else or in other sector even. So giving this opportunity to employees to look at what they can do if they enter the market being an Uber driver. Could they upgrade their driving into becoming a tour guide? Could they actually create an opportunity for themselves to move horizontally in another sector where, for instance, customer service, service standards are skills that are transferable skills? Whether you travel or not, if you do implement more responsible ways of living in your everyday life, we've got a much better opportunity to live the world in a better way than we found it before.